All right, I have 7:30, so I will call the meeting to order. First up is DRC for Max Apples. Yep, wherever you feel comfortable.
All right, what do I need?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Laura Gandia. I'm an attorney with Divine, Millimet and Branch, representing Max Apples. And we're here in front of you as part of the design review process. We did submit a site plan application, and we are operating under the agritourism statute. And I'm not sure if the commission is aware, we did have a conceptual discussion with the planning board. And at that planning board, I did submit a packet of information, and I thought it'd be beneficial for you folks to have that as well.
How do I get into this?
Might be more than what you need, but
Council, why is it making?
I don't know.
Is this what we got in our materials, Mike?
Yeah, it should be in there.
Oh, you
You
have
sent it.
Yeah.
If, I know a
I'll-
couple,
I'll take one because I had.
yeah, some people don't have, yeah.
I don't think well, I may have gotten it, but thank you. I'll give it back to you.
I'll take one, sure.
Thank
you, ma'am.
Council over here.
Thank you very much.
Because you're on other users, so I think.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Didn't like the password.
At least they only asked you for one. Council was all small letters.
Great, thank you so much.
And having computer issues.
Me too.
New printer changed everything.
what you have in front of you is the same packet that was submitted to the planning board as part of the conceptual discussion. And it just basically outlines the parameters under which we believe the application is to be reviewed. I included the agritourism definition. The town has already determined that this is the addition of the restaurant. We're here in front of you because Max Apple wants to add a farm-to-table restaurant in the back of the existing structure. So there'll be no changes to the footprint of the building. There will be some cosmetic changes along the backside where the restaurant's going to be. The town zoning administrator has determined that this farm-to-table restaurant falls underneath agritourism and therefore is a permitted use. So I do have some of those statutes there, if you wanted to take a look at those. And also, as part of our application, we are looking for some waivers. Two waivers that may be of interest to this board is, the first waiver is to be exempt from providing the CO2 district wetland delineation plan, and therefore to be exempt from the conservation overlay district buffer. And the second is to not pave the existing parking area that is not currently paved. And some of that parking area does fall into where the CO district buffer is. So if you were to look at tab number 12, it's the page that's somewhat folded. I think that would probably be the best place to start. And I attempted to color code that for the commission. And I outlined in red, that's the box in red is where the restaurant's going to be. So Max Apple is looking to add a 4,000 square foot restaurant to serve 99 patrons. So it's a 99-seat restaurant. And then you can see the property line is outlined in black, and that property line cuts through a corner of the existing wetlands that are located on the other property that's also owned by Max Apples. So our existing acres, I believe, is about 8 acres. The one where the wetlands are actually located, a majority of them, probably 99%, is 37 acres. I did outline in green the edge of the wetland buffer, and then the edge of the wetland, I'm sorry, and then in pink is the conservation overlay district buffer. And you can see with the pink that a portion of the existing farm stand is already encroaching into the CO district buffer, as well as an existing building. And I'm assuming most people are familiar with Max Apples. You have various picnic tables and stuff right along the pond edge that people use and enjoy. Those are also shown on the plan.
Oh. in the
So
wrong
any
place.
questions about just the overall layout of where we're at? Okay. So what we're asking, this is what we determined is an agricultural farm pond. According to Max Apples, this pond was dredged back in 1958, he believes, by the previous owners, the Mack family, for the purpose of irrigation. It has been that way since. That's what the pond is used for. He has equipment in and out of there at all times, piping to use the water to help with irrigation purposes, whether it's for peach trees, apple trees, anything else like that. It's been in this way since 1958. And then I know the town of Londonderry does not provide an exemption for agricultural farm ponds, but on pages 13 and 14, the EPA, the Clean Water Act, does give some guidance to allowing for an exemption for agricultural ponds. There are other municipalities in the state of New Hampshire that also allow for the same, but the town of Londonderry does not. That's why we are asking for the exemption, for the waiver. And then the second thing that I wanted to bring to the board's attention is you can see along the CO2 district buffer, the parking area, and there's an existing, I believe it's 16 or 19 spaces that are the closest to or right in the CO2 district buffer. We are asking that those remain. And we are also asking for a waiver from the planning board to be exempt from paving that area. By the town's regulations, the town regulations call for this area to be paved. We don't want that to happen. We want to keep it as is, and we think that would provide further protection to the farm pond as it exists now. So that's what I have. That's where we're at. Two waivers, one to be exempt in entirety from the CO2 district buffer, based on the fact that it's an agricultural farm pond used for irrigation purposes only. And my client did give me a picture to give you an idea of when I say it's used for irrigation purposes only. If I could just pass this out. Kind of show you, like, when I say he has equipment pumping water out. You're welcome. You can see exactly, gives you a flavor of what happens as part of the agritourism and his agricultural operations.
Does that pond drain into anything? Is it drain into a pond, a river or a brook or anything?
I don't think so. I mean, it was dredged back in the 1950s. So he drains from it.
Okay.
Question. On the assumption that this is going to be a year-round event and that you'll have crowds perhaps at the holiday season and so forth and so on, what plans do you have for snow removal and then salting and so forth that close to, I have no idea what they do now, so they may have to manage it in some fashion, but certainly not as much as they would during picking season. So I just wonder what they do and what they have plans to do.
I'm not sure. I don't think that whatever they're doing now, it's not going to change because we're not expanding any of the existing area. He is open in the winter season. So I believe, and I don't want to say for 100% for sure, we probably could ride by and see that the snow is probably pushed over to where the existing structure is, that barn area.
Yeah.
That's where-
South.
Right.
I think that lot was not cleared as of a week or so ago.
Okay. And that may be, if he's just
May not-
using
may
the
not
paved
need it.
area.
Well, they
Right.
do
Right.
need it, because the only parking they have right now is in front of the store.
Right. And that would, you are correct, if he's having the
But
restaurant
if
open
it's dinner
year-round.
time, they wouldn't, the store would not be, the crowds would be shifting.
If it's bad weather, the parking back near the pond is closer. This place is gonna be on the back of the
Right.
existing building.
Okay.
So if it was rainy or blowing, I'd wanna park back there, if I could.
Well, I guess my point is, we would probably like to know what their plans are for snow removal and if they'd be salting or whatever.
It looks like 2 new septic fields are being built
Yes.
north of the pond.
Yes, over to This side, if you're looking at what's on the map, you can see where the,
Right.
so on the restaurant side of the building, there'll be new septic installed there.
And is the 37 acres under easement, or is it part of the old cutout? I know that obviously this part where the building is part of the old cutout.
37 acres is under easement,
Okay, so do we have
because it's
to,
one of the ones that I walk.
do we have to deal with that differently? Is there any requirements from him, from the deed, the easement deed?
Well, all of this is outside of that boundary.
This is, inside the black line is 8 acres, right?
Correct. Give or take, yes. And I outlined the parcel. It is a unique shape. You can see the thicker black line on the color-coded plan is the boundary of the 8 acres. And where the actual farm pond is, that's 37 acres. And there's just a little bit of the actual farm pond located on the 8 acres. And you can see that green where it somewhat intersects with the black line, going up and then going towards the existing other building on the property.
So the 8 acres is a lot of record, right?
Yes.
Should
And
be.
I'm pretty sure that's the lot that
That's the
they
pullout.
created did not be in the easement.
Right.
So I don't think that's an issue.
And with the 3 houses are in that too.
The what?
The existing
Oh,
houses
yeah,
are in there
right.
as well.
Right. You asked about an exemption from the overlay district. That's a new term to me.
I corrected myself, waiver. So I said the EPA talks about exemptions, but
Oh.
per the regulations, we are asking for a waiver. And under agritourism, the waiver standards are different from what the planning board typically has. So the waivers are meant to allow agritourism to take place, and I believe it is on, I think I put the actual standard for the waivers for number 10. And the standard, part of the standard is literal application would effectively prohibit the use or would be unreasonable. The planning board shall grant to the extent necessary to reasonably permit the use. And I did emphasize it's a shall and it's not may, and I added some other language, and that's on page 10. So that's a different waiver standard than what's contained in the town's site plan regulations. Again, because it's falling under agritourism, governed by state statutes, along with the town's regulations as well.
So it's the case, I think, that what we call the existing building, the little barn over there, which the entrance to that is facing the farm stand, right? If I remember right?
Correct.
Yeah. So that building and the corner of the farm stand that's in the buffer, they pre-existed the overlay district. Am I correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So we can't do anything about that. Those are pre-existing uses. But when you have a new site plan, it takes you up to current site plan regs. So, under those regs, we wouldn't have a parking lot in the buffer. And we don't have the ability, neither the commission nor the planning board, I don't think, to grant a waiver for parking. That's not one of the listed things that we can allow as a conditional use. So I think that would be a problem. And do you need those spots along the, nearest the pond to make your parking requirement?
We do. And this is where I think it gets a little bit tricky, and before I submitted, I had a conversation with the town staff, and the approach that we're taking is to ask for a waiver to the site plan regulations to provide any type of wetlands delineation, hence making the wetlands, those buffers not applicable, and we would move forward. And I understand, Mr. Speltz, what you're saying is, there's other avenues that could be a conditional use permit or some other mechanism to allow certain uses. But we're taking the approach based under the agritourism statute that site plan regulation to provide to the town the wetland delineation, we want to receive a waiver from that. Therefore, we don't have to move forward with any other type of analysis regarding the wetland buffer. So town staff is aware of that position. That's the position that we put forward. They accepted the application. We have not received the design review comments back from town staff. They may come back saying, we don't like that approach. We think that that's not proper. That I don't know. I didn't receive that indication from them.
Because that waiver wouldn't come from us.
No, that waiver comes from the planning board. Yeah. But we're here in front of you to let you know that that's what we're doing. So we're doing 2 waivers, we're doing 5 in theory, but the ones I think this commission would be most interested in is the CO2 district buffer and the parking area. So we don't want to have any of that area paved. We want to keep the existing paved area in front of the farm stand as is and not pave the other parking
So-
spaces.
Is he adding any parking?
Nope. So we're not, again, there's no physical changes to the site except for modifying the back for where the restaurant is to make that look obviously nice, and the installation of the septic.
Which is on the other side.
The other side, right, this side. Yeah, the further side away
Where the
from
house
the,
is, like that White House, okay.
and you can see where the red is, there's a circle, it's over in that area.
You say that area won't be paved. What prevents it from being paved in the future?
My client does not want that. We'd be happy to put a note on the plan that if that was to be paved, that we would come back and address that with the town, because that, in my opinion, that would be a significant change to the site that would require a stormwater management plan, because now you have to figure out where is that pavement, that water, that runoff going to go. Right now, it's good, it seeps in, there's not an issue. If we put pavement in, I could pretty much guarantee the town's going to be like, stop, you can't do that. Where's your stormwater management plan? What are you doing with that runoff? How are you handling that? How are you treating that? So I think that's where we would be. But my client has told me they don't have any intention of paving that.
So, it's not clear to me that a delineation is what creates a wetland. It's sort of like, God created the wetland, and the wetland scientist goes out there and just figures out where he put it. So if you waive the site plan requirement to delineate the wetland, the wetland's still there.
Correct. No, and again, if, our approach is we don't want to be subject to the CO district. So if we get a waiver from that requirement to delineate or show that, then we're not going to be subject to the CO district buffer or any requirements that come with that. And I'm not at all saying that the wetlands don't exist or the farm pond isn't there. It absolutely is. We did show it on the plan, and that's why we're here in front of you today. But our position or our request to the town is that we receive a waiver from that requirement, and therefore the site can exist as it currently exists today.
I'm not convinced that, I've walked around that pond almost in its entirety. I started on this side that we're on here, and I popped out at the church over there. You can't get to Mammoth Road on Mac land without getting your feet really wet. Right, Bob? Bob's out there too. So there must be some other drainage, and I've never found that connection, but it's all wet. I don't know if there was an existing wetland perhaps that's over by the church, and then this was dredged deeper to make the pond, so they'd have enough, collect enough water to irrigate. But I don't think that we can say that this is purely an agricultural creation. This is taking advantage of a wet area that was probably already there and digging it deeper so that it would hold water. So I think it should be treated as a wetland. I wish I had a solution for you to replace some of those. The picnic tables are fine. There's a provision in the ordinance for accessory structures or whatever the case is. But, and I certainly would support not paving this area. I don't know how much weight that'll carry with some of the other people that are contributing to the design review, but I don't think we should have parking that close. I mean, there is additional room to between the existing barn and the highway that hasn't totally been used yet.
How did they determine how many parking places you need for a restaurant?
Yes, I think it's based on the school.
Two per seat, I
I
think,
think, right.
or
No, it
half
can't be
No,
that.
that can't be
seat.
that. That's
Two
too
pe-
much.
And I
Two
think,
seats per
Yeah,
space.
50.
Oh, my goodness.
right, so that's all based out of the
What I
parking
remember was-
calculations for the town.
The water continues down then.
Yeah, right. They didn't show
Of course,
us.
if it's not,
Where it goes from there, I don't
if
know.
it's left as Keystone or whatever, it's not marked, so you can't guarantee people are gonna park efficiently
Right.
or even legally.
Right, and I think, I have to admit, it's a clever approach to just say, don't make us delineate, but it also knocks out the possibility of marking the wetland, or marking the buffer, which is problematic as well, especially up on the other end. So, I just don't think that, I think, you can do whatever happens with the waiver, that's fine, but there's somehow, we know there's a wetland there, it's on the plan, there's a buffer associated with it somewhere.
And I do have the buffer. So the buffer is there. So if you look at that plan, the
Yeah.
buffer line is in pink.
Yeah, right, so somebody went to the trouble of
We did.
marking it and surveying it,
We did.
yep. So to me, that's where the sign should go and the buffer should be protected.
And I would just ask the board to consider the fact that this is an agricultural use. This use has been in existence since, the farm was, 1700s, I think, for Max Apples. I think I had that in my beginning intro. 1732. This town knows that we just lost Elwood Farms. Max Apple is trying to find a way to create the farm to be economically viable and sustainable. It's, only now we have 3 farms left in Londonderry. We have Max, Sunnycrest, and Merrill. Merrill is not offer the type of community involvement that Sunnycrest, as far as apple picking and pick your own, the Sunnycrest and Max Apples do. This has been happening for forever. And to now require Max Apples to eliminate the parking area, put up signs to a use that has been in existence for, if we go back to 1732, the pond, according to my client, was dredged around 1950, so we're looking at almost 75 years, I think would be a disservice to the farm and its ability to maintain itself and continue with its activities and agritourism. And again, the federal guidelines, they talk about exemptions. Other municipalities do allow exemptions for farm ponds. I believe Amherst is one that comes to mind. I could be mistaken with that. Recognizing that, yes, it meets the criteria, the legal definition, the state definition of a wetland, but it's a farm pond. You can see that water's drained out of it. You can see what happens to it, what they do to that particular wetland. It's drained. It's used for pumping. There's equipment in there, getting water out. So to now be subject to the CO district buffer we believe would be contrary to the agritourism statute and the ability for the farm to maintain its agritourism and its agricultural activities.
Well, not only is there pumping there, there's wildlife that live in there. Because that pond has been there for so long, it has become inhabited. It is a habitat.
And I actually asked my client, because somebody said, well, there's fish in there. I'm like, do you stock the pond, with fish? And he does not. So that's naturally happening, and I do understand, absolutely, there is. But it doesn't stop the fact that its primary purpose is for irrigation. And it is, used for such routinely, twice a day sometimes.
It shouldn't, just because it's a farm pond, shouldn't mean it doesn't deserve to be protected. Because that water goes somewhere.
Actually, the fact that the fish are there means
That it's
it did come from somewhere.
Right, it's connected to some other wetland. And that connectivity is what is important to protect.
Madam Chair, may I make a statement?
Absolutely.
Good evening. Thank you for coming, by the way. I understand that the pond has been in existence for many years, but motor vehicles have been in existence for many, many years as well. The increase in motor vehicle traffic, even including parking and idling vehicles in that area, in the summertime, when the air is much more dense than it is in the wintertime, means that animals that live in there, regardless of how they got there, whether they were put there by God or they were put there somehow, they live in that. And they breathe the air, and so do the food that they eat on, that they feed off of. So encroaching motor vehicle traffic means encroaching waste gases from those motor vehicles, and that concerns me because I've been there, as we all have, and I think more traffic there means more interference with natural ecological life that's propagating there. I mean, you see kids running around screaming and yelling that there's fish and turtles and so forth, and that's a big concern for me, being as a rookie as I am. I must say that is a pretty big concern. I understand you not wanting to pave it, that's terrific, but I also think that the closer the vehicles get, it's more dangerous to the animal life as well.
And I 100% appreciate and understand that concern, and my response would be, this has been occurring since the 1950s, and according to my client, there hasn't been any concerns brought to anybody's attention regarding danger or any type of,
So are
negative
they
impacts to
adding
the
parking?
environment.
Are they adding parking? Because
No.
there is parking in front of there.
They're not adding parking. So we're not, we're not changing the existing site layout except for the cosmetic for the back of the building and the septic. So there's no other physical changes being done to the site. So these parking spaces have been in existence for a very long time, to my knowledge and to my client's knowledge, without any negative impacts to wildlife and the environment that
But you must agree that with additional seating, as you said, 99, if it does take off and additional customers go there, which we know Max is very busy in the summer months and spring months alike, that will cause more motor vehicles to be there, regardless of whether they were there in 1967 or now. There are going to be more because of the additional restaurant that's being put in, or the additional food services that are being put in. Even if there's no more parking, it's going to cause more congestion, and people, as someone mentioned earlier, are going to be likely to violate some of those barriers and go close to the pond. It just, that concerns me, that there is encroachment on, by virtue of numbers.
And I would say, I agree. Obviously, with the restaurant, there'll be increased traffic, and my response to that would be, there is a fence there now, and when it's the super busy weekends that happen in Max Apples, that I'm sure everybody's aware of, you don't see any further encroachment. So when it's been at its capacity, there hasn't been any further encroachment to the CO district buffer than what those spaces allow to happen, because there is that fence. So
Excuse
I
me.
believe there will be increased foot traffic, but I wouldn't necessarily agree that that's going to encroach any more than what's already happening with the fence there and with the existing parking. you know, I think it's clearly delineated where the parking is to be.
Okay.
So back to where the parking is, it's a very fine print, but that was done by engineers to put where the parking places are?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any adaptions we could make, or things that we could change to make the parking in a slightly different place? Mike's always looking at this sort of thing, but, you know, you can't take the building down, I understand that. I don't know exactly what goes on back where between the two buildings. But there's nothing, you know, that it stops there, it stops before that, apparently.
Is
This
parking
isn't a
in the
building, this
building
is a
a
goat pen.
possibility?
Oh, go pen.
Is parking in that building, that
If they took that
4,000
out,
square
they'd
foot
have
building,
plenty
a
of room.
possibility?
No, inside the building?
Yeah, they use it
Yeah,
for
that's
storage or?
Yeah, no, there's no room for parking. And just so the commission's aware, do you mind if I just get up and point?
Sure.
Like, so we have, I think it's these 19 parking spaces that we would like to keep. And the restaurant's gonna be here, so people are going to be here and they're going to walk and enter into the back of the restaurant here. So this is the buffer line here, so you are going to have people coming through and walking to get to the restaurant.
What are you doing about handicap parking?
I believe it's not shown, it's shown on the right here. We have handicap spots here and then some here as well.
What's the surface where they're parking and then potentially walking?
Oh,
What kind of a
yeah.
It's
surface?
the same as the parking area.
I need
Looks
a
like
magnifying
Keystone or
glass.
dirt, right?
People that park in the front parking lot, how will they get into the restaurant? They have to go all the way around the building?
They would.
Oh,
And this is paved, so this area right here, and you can kind of see is the paved parking area. And over here, and again, you know, this, you know, the restaurant's going to be operated for lunch and dinner. So there will be times where, you know, people aren't going to be parking here, you know, for lunch and dinner because the farm stand will be closed. So common sense would say that they would move and park this way and then be able to go into the restaurant in the back.
You're not gonna be able to get in through the farm
You will
stand?
not be able to. This will be an emergency access for the fire department. Like, we've worked really hard with the fire department to, you know, make sure that our seating is the way it should be, and we have the appropriate emergency access ways, so the only entrance for the public will be here.
That's tough.
I don't know if we have the authority, but, I mean, one way to skin this cat would be to ask that the buffer boundary run along that white fence behind the picnic tables, and then, you know, gradually merge to the correct boundary, you know, farther on up the hillside. So I know there's a provision that would be then there's two ways in the ordinance. One is the conditional use permit, and the other is to allow the first 25 feet of the buffer to be not a buffer anymore. And that would be the course that they would follow. Looking at the scale,
Looks like 25 feet, we got you pretty close to the.
yeah, it'd
fence.
be awfully close, right? And the other thing would, there's that option or the option that we just support a request that they not be required to provide the minimum required parking spaces. I mean, they're there because the planning board told them they gotta have 99 space, or 50 spaces for the 99 people. But, you know, I don't know, could,
And I think a reduction in parking spaces would not be something that the planning board would be amenable to. I think there are concerns about, you know, the traffic at Max Apples and reducing the parking spaces. I don't think that would be good for public safety, and I believe the planning board would agree with that sentiment. just based on interactions that I had with town staff, reducing that, I think would be very problematic.
They could add some spaces in front of the barn
Yeah.
where the goat pen is.
What is that the goat pen not there, right
Mm-hmm. That's a
on the road?
goat pen.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a few spaces there.
I think we ought to look into that, reducing the buffer. The first 25 feet kind of thing. That would really solve the parking problem.
Yeah, it solved the signage
Solve the parking
problem.
problem. And,
Because if the buffer moves to the fence, then that becomes the place where the signs go.
Mhm.
I don't want to discourage people from going in there and looking at the picnic tables, so we might have to, say pedestrian only or something like that, and bring your ice cream, but,
Right, and I mean, as you know, people do enjoy going in
Yeah.
that buffer area at the picnic tables, and I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's a major attraction for the
Oh, yeah.
residents
Right.
of
Well,
Lynn.
sit
yeah, and
there all the
there's
time.
nothing in the zoning ordinance that would prohibit that.
Well, I believe technically we could have a different opinion, based on material and stuff like that for structures being in there, and,
not structures, they're picnic tables. Not sheds or,
Yeah. I don't think
Defined
anybody's
structure.
trying to get rid of the picnic tables.
no, I mean, yeah,
And that,
I mean-
and arguably, that's an existing use too, right?
Yeah.
yes.
we could, I mean, with the conservation overlay district signs there, I don't want to see people being discouraged from going in
Right,
there.
right.
So I think that's something that we should be mindful of, because I know when I see those signs, you're like, oh, okay, and you
Oh,
kind of, you know.
But if there's picnic tables there, people are going to go sit at the
No,
picnic
but
tables.
I-
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I just think it sends a different message than what the farm would want to have. Along the backside, putting those there, fine, but I think where you're getting into the farming and people are coming and kids are running around and doing their thing right in that area, I don't know if that's the type of environment or a message that I think would be beneficial to the farm.
But it isn't gonna say do not enter or do not proceed beyond this zone, or,
I forgot
So-
exactly
What,
they
what
said.
does it say exactly?
I just-
I don't remember, but there is something there.
It says for
Have any
fences,
questions, call
call.
this number.
I
But
know
it certainly doesn't dissuade the young kids
No.
and people from doing, and I don't think that would.
Nobody reads it.
Exactly.
But I think it's going to be right there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, it's going to be
No,
there.
I
And can't
understand
remember.
I understand what you're saying.
I just want the farm to be welcoming. I want people to have that same sense of.
Yeah,
this is-
productive.
This is the staple of Londonderry. People love it. They love sitting there, watching the sunset, having their ice cream. That's important to my client.
Well, it could also teach the value of protecting nature. I think I have a picture of one of the signs I'm trying
I was
to.
just going to try to find.
I just really feel that if we did that, pull the buffer, give them back 25 feet, the first 25 feet, it's not in the buffer zone, and then try to find some parking, just some more parking, it could add up correctly.
I think
I don't know if
if we move
engineers,
it back
you-
25 feet, we've
sometimes
given
they'll-
them all the parking that they have, and
Yeah,
and it's
right.
all that they want.
Yeah, right.
We don't have to give
Yeah,
them
we're
more.
not eliminating any parking if we give them the 25 feet, which is
Oh,
where
okay,
the fence
true.
is.
Maybe a few inches.
Right.
Going back that 25 feet wouldn't be for the entire area, correct? It wouldn't be for like
Just
that
on the
area going
front.
north?
Just to get around the corner of the building there.
Just on the west side.
Okay.
The north side, you could leave it where it is. There are no signs on it now.
Right. Well, there's no buffer on it now, because they haven't, it was grandfathered.
Right.
Right, there are no CO2 district signs at all on the property. I'm just trying to find what they look like.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation, that the planning board deny the requested waiver not to delineate the wetland and Heck, the work's already been done. But then to reduce the buffer to 25 feet to allow access to the restaurant and the parking areas.
So what happens if it doesn't add up right? If if we lose more than, I don't think it matters, but if we lose 28 feet of the buffer, because the parking's already there, is there somebody gonna complain? Besides us?
I don't think so. I don't think the owner's gonna complain if he gets what he wants.
That's not what I meant, but.
And I
Yeah.
found the sign, it says, "Protective Conservation Area. Do not disturb soils or vegetation. Violators will be prosecuted. For information or to report a violation, call the code enforcement officer at 432-1100, extension 125."
It's very welcoming.
I think
Where is this sign?
That's what,
It's the sign we put on,
But what's the little yellow sign?
that's
That's the sign, so
They're not, some of them are triangular.
they're not so,
they're diamond.
Diamond. Yes, right.
you know, I think, you know, that, what I have, it's in your subdivision regulations.
yeah.
Yeah.
And protective conservation area, do not disturb soils or vegetation, violations will be prosecuted. Not necessarily the message that we want.
Yeah, but,
That's why it doesn't say that in my backyard, but that's.
but do you want people digging around?
But they don't. I mean, this has been in existence
I know,
for,
but-
you know.
Typically, the reason we put the signs up is when there are abutters to the property, that
Right.
this is inside Mac's property.
And Max owns the adjacent property, which I believe is under conservation.
Right, that's,
And I believe the signs are to be
so
50 feet. So every 50 feet.
I'm in agreement that I don't think why, can we give them a waiver on putting the signs up there?
Probably.
I would say,
I think if we can, I think we should on
Yeah.
the eastern boundary, against the parking lot. If in return, they'd maybe put a couple signs along the northern boundary where they don't presently exist.
Western.
Yeah.
They don't let kids sled ride back there anymore,
Well,
so that's
again,
not a
if-
problem.
No, this is west.
Because
This
it's a new
is-
site
yeah.
plan, and because it requires a delineation, they would have to do that. That's part of the,
Okay.
we'd be waiving the requirement to post the signs, you know, up until due south of the new restaurant, or the farm stand, I guess.
And just to be clear, that is our request, that we be waived, you know, our waiver is to be waived from the signage and the buffer requirements. I just
Well, you
want to
mean
make
the
sure that
whole
everybody
thing,
understands
all
that.
the way up the side?
What's that?
The north side too?
Yeah.
I don't see the business reason for that.
Yeah.
There's no reason to care. There's no reason for Kyle to care. We're not telling him to stay out of it. It's agricultural property, do what you've been doing. But in theory, it should be designated, so if he's got workers that are looking for a place to dump the old fertilizer bags or something, they don't do it there.
That's very unlikely.
I agree.
Is the purpose of reducing the buffer to accommodate foot traffic, to make it to the restaurant?
The purpose of
It's
redo,
to accommodate the parking they want.
yeah.
Yeah, but do we need to reduce it around on the north side? People can still walk in it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it doesn't need to be reduced to allow them to walk.
No, it only needs to be reduced along the parking lot.
And we're not, we don't have any encroachments on the northern part of that. We're just asking for the site to remain as is.
But is that a the water line? My eyes aren't good enough, or the light's not strong enough or something. But we could use, let me show you.
Well, there's two
I'm
catch
trying to come up
basins.
with a defined point, so we're not ambiguous about what we're asking for. And we would reduce the buffer 25 feet up until the point where it comes to this line, which, is that a water?
That's an overhead electric.
I think it's overhead electric to the house.
Yeah, well, that works.
And I'll,
As long as it's something on the plan. And then it would follow that line and go, on up.
and I'm sure the commission's aware that there is the Boy Scout annual that we were just in front of the Heritage Commission, and the Heritage Commission was asking about the tree burning for the Boy Scouts that occur back there. And if that would continue, Kyle stated that it would, and that would probably be pushed, back into that area. And I think if you look at that almost triangle area, I think that is probably more paved area that's used for equipment that comes in and out of there. That trucks turn around, the tractors come in, they turn around, and they use that area. When I say the I think this triangle area right here.
Well,
That's not paved.
Mike, could you do the aerial view of that property, so maybe we could
Yeah, I mean,
get a better visual?
they're not gonna be putting heavy equipment over the septic field when that goes in, right?
Yeah, no, there's nothing back there but grass and gravel.
No, not very good.
That's pretty bad.
I think if you go to the GIS
yeah.
and you do the aerial image, you'll be able to find it better. It's 230, that's easier to find.
It's Litchfield. What am I doing in Litchfield?
Yeah. Yeah. You see that area that's outlined with the triangle that I was just pointing about?
Yeah,
right in
it's
there.
just grass and gravel.
Yes, right, but
Hey, can you even see the electric line?
I've occasionally seen pickup trucks back there, but
So-
they don't use it much. It's usually empty.
and I know the town parade starts and, they all gather, I'm not saying back there.
Oh,
but in that
the
area.
Boy Scouts go back in there for the bonfire.
Right,
But the farm doesn't use it much.
But the zoning ordinance allows agriculture and the buffer. It allows, as long as you don't use chemical fertilizers and pesticides, but, just being there is not a problem. Having a fire probably, I don't see where that would be a problem if you had to have it. I don't know if you're gonna have it under that power line anyway.
They usually go back a little further.
I believe that's where they do have it, and I believe, Mr. Maxwell, they do push it back a
Yeah,
little further.
they just put it a little bit
Well, then,
past the wire.
yeah, but then where they are is gonna be on top of the new septic field.
Mike, can you slide
'Cause
that
they-
up just a little,
Or maybe in the buffer, right?
so we can
I
see
think more in the
where the
buffer.
barn
Because
They're
they
usually
get,
in line with the
front
front
driveway.
is there.
It's
Yeah,
barn.
thanks.
yeah, right.
See, there's quite a bit of space there in front of that barn that could be additional parking.
They don't want they don't want additional parking.
But
They're
if
not
we-
asking for it.
I know, but I'm saying if they're,
In replacement of the other.
if
Yeah.
they're worried about losing any,
Okay.
it's just shifting where it is, not adding or subtracting. All right, so what are we proposing? To reduce the CO district buffer to 25 feet on the westerly side along the current fence.
Yeah.
That's one.
And continue with the 50 going north.
Yeah,
50-foot,
and then, follow the power line to,
I'm back to the snow thing, because if they have to, will they be putting a sidewalk in on the back of that building just to make it easier for people to get there?
it's gravel.
When they clear it for people to walk in the wintertime? I don't know, it sounds messy to me, but if that's the way they want to do it, I don't care about how they do it, but I do want us to remember to find a snow plant, be sure what they're doing out there. Because the more people in the wintertime, that's what I'm saying, there's
Right,
gonna be
yeah.
more people in the wintertime. If we're, a weekend like this last weekend, we don't want them to
Lot
be
of snow,
putting the
yeah.
snow in the pond either, so. That should be added, I'm sorry, I'm on that kick, I'm sorry.
Well, we could certainly ask that snow storage be shown on the plan.
There are parking places out there where, by the restaurant part too, with, in the Google area. Well, look.
Okay, help me out here.
What do you got so far?
Just the recommend the 25-foot along the fence.
Yeah, and then extending to the point where a 25-foot buffer crosses the power line. Follow the power line to the 50-foot buffer and continue north.
And would that buffer encroach into the existing gravel? I'm just not understanding that statement.
It's just
So-
grass.
Right, but I think the power line that Mr. Speltz was referring to, if he wanted the buffer to be there, then that existing gravel would now be unusable per the CO district buffer, if you're going to move forward like that.
Looks to me like there's a lot of grass there, not gravel.
No, if you look at the overhead, Mrs. Levens, you see
Oh.
that area right there? I'm talking about,
Oh.
so what, the statement that was just made would, my understanding would effectively prohibit the use of that existing gravel area that is now in use
For what?
for equipment, machinery, farm operations.
They can park stuff there.
they don't.
They can traverse through it, it's just not a storage area. And I don't think they're storing anything.
No, they're just driving through.
I don't know. I mean, he may, it wouldn't surprise me if there are not farm equipment vehicles parked
It's
there.
unusual, but they occasionally park a couple pickup trucks back there.
Right.
On the gravel.
So my request would be for, if the board wanted to impose a district, the CO2 district buffer, that it would be after that existing area as shown on that aerial.
I'm just looking for a way to
It has a
not be
monument that we
ambiguous
can.
about it. What's the line that, that's the other plan, but there's another line that crosses underneath that power line and, is it a contour? It goes along the fence and then it stops, and then it, I don't know what it is.
My concern is to have the buffer apply where this triangle is.
You know, the triangle, maybe, is that the
If you
gravel?
wanted to have the
Might
50
be.
foot go up this way, I think that would be more palatable to my client. But this is already in use, so if you wanted the signs up that way. I'm not a fan of the signs at all, but if you want the buffer to be there.
Trying to use this line here. What is that?
That's
what's in
just the
edge of
dirt.
Gravel.
That's the gravel.
Okay, yeah, so then if we could just do that, we could follow,
So establish a 50-foot buffer after the gravel,
yeah,
the existing
Yep.
gravel.
yeah, right.
Or you could say X number of feet from the building too. Shows.
And then I would even say as, it would be the easternmost point of that gravel area as shown on the plan.
So we're going to begin the 50-foot buffer at the end of the
Gravel.
current gravel.
Before that, it's the 25-foot.
Right.
Right.
Which gives him everything I think he's really
For
asking
some
for.
reason, there's a cloud over Max in my Google Maps.
Well, there was up there. It was like this big black
Yeah,
thing.
okay.
And then we can say only the 50-foot portion needs to be signed. And to be clear, we probably should say that we recommend that the requested waiver to not delineate the wetland be denied.
So you want them to have a wetland scientist come out and
They've
delineate?
already done
They
it.
already did it.
Is
That's
that-
what she has on this.
It's
plan.
already done?
It is, but so we submitted that for reference.
Excuse me.
I don't know if it was stamped. Again, just to be clear, like, that waiver encompasses everything, so I think the commission's position is denied in part, because you're giving somewhat of what we're seeking as well.
Okay, so that was all one waiver?
All one, so the one waiver included yeah, so we don't have to do
That-
anything. So the one waiver was like, we're not submitting the plan, we're not being subject to the
Paving?
buffer. Right.
Paving was in the same waiver?
The pave is a separate
Okay,
waiver.
so,
But I think the commission's stance is that you would support the paving waiver.
oh yeah, we would prefer you not to pave.
Right.
So we recommend denial of, or partial denial.
He may have, he sometimes
waiver
finds he
pertaining
may have a
to-
couple of trees up in that upper part of the buffer.
Yeah, but agriculture's okay.
Okay.
The requirement to
Putting some
delineate the
fertilizer on it, they
wetlands.
shouldn't, but
Yeah.
Do we want to put anything in there about salt usage?
You know, like all these plans for thinking about, this will be the last storm of the decade.
Is salt being used
No.
now?
I don't know that answer.
would salt be effective on dirt?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it?
It would be, and there are different types
Oh.
that can be used that would be less hazardous to the soil and its contents as well.
Because you'd want to protect your customers too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And I
right.
don't know what happens there now, because they don't
I
usually.
mean, they
go
could
there in
use
the winter.
calcium, but it's like 3 times as expensive.
Yeah,
It is, but it's also more animal friendly,
Correct.
so, and has a different melting point from basic salt. But that said, it, still needs to be done to make sure people aren't gonna slip and
and
kill themselves walking in.
what
That
about
would be a
snow
liability if
storage?
you
Yeah.
deny
Yeah.
the parking
We do
area
want
for
it-
Yeah.
customers.
We want snow
Absolutely.
storage shown on the
And then-
plan.
Yeah, I think that, with the snow, we're opening up something new. That I don't believe they plow that area now. They don't need it in the winter.
It will.
Right,
Right, that's why it's different, is that up until now, they just let it be covered with snow and wait for spring.
Yeah.
yeah, because people weren't coming there.
Right.
So, do we need to say something like, should the planning board require that the parking areas be paved? We do not recommend
The waiver.
pavement in the, yeah, well, yeah, we would recommend the full 50-foot buffer.
I need more paper.
You see what I'm saying? If they go in with this plan and
And they don't take our recommendations.
they don't take our recommendation to let them just have this gravel parking lot, then they say, no, you gotta pave everything.
Then they're gonna salt everything.
Yeah, so we need to just kind of give them the heads up that if they're gonna do that, then the 25-foot deal is off, and we gotta go to full buffer. But I don't know if that'll strengthen your hand or weaken it, but,
I think it should help.
yeah. I think just, I think back to the many days when I was trying to get Andy Mack to do a little more business with us, and he always talked about wanting to open this little stand where he could get a cup of coffee and an apple pie, and, we're close to making that happen here. Although I saw in the paperwork that you submitted that it's mainly, products grown on the farm or from surrounding farms. And I have this flashback to the movie Forrest Gump. When this little buddy, the shrimp fisherman, starts listing off all the ways you could have shrimp. There was shrimp gumbo and shrimp pie and shrimp, and now I'm thinking of a restaurant that just serves apple pie and apple crumble and,
And pork with apples.
Yeah,
Baked apples.
yep. Bubba.
right, Bubba, right. I'm glad there's some people old, in the audience that are old enough to appreciate that reference.
So back to, are we going to mention our preference to avoid salt usage?
In the buffer. I mean,
Just in the buffer? Well, isn't it? Well,
Buffer isn't gonna be there now, so,
right.
on the parking lot.
right. So just leave it?
You know, I'm almost thinking that the owner is not gonna wanna foul his own pond.
Right.
That salt that goes in there in the winter is gonna go on the
Plants, and kill the
plants
plants.
in the
yeah.
summer.
And the fish in the ducks.
So I have to believe that they're gonna be reasonable about that. I hope.
And I would echo that. I mean, Max did a great job with it. Kyle is continuing with that. He's not, as a businessman and as, a lover of nature, he's not going to do something that's going to damage his reputation, damage his products, damage his produce. So I can't imagine him not taking the utmost care and doing what's needed to protect the water that he's using for irrigation.
There's no structures that would divert any runoff from the parking lot away from the pond?
No, it slopes down to the pond.
There's a concrete weir or something in there, but there's not much. It's just, just a slope.
Fortunately, it's a gentle slope.
Yeah, it's very close to flat where the fence is.
Okay,
Okay.
we got it?
Yeah.
All right. I think we got it.
It's back to you, please.
You can keep it. Do you want it back?
You don't have anybody else to give it to? Please, I'm buried in paper.
I appreciate that, thank you.
It helped, though.
Absolutely.
See.
Yep, me too.
Oh, I thought,
With the keeper? I'm keeping it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is Stonehenge Road, but there's no one here from Stonehenge Road, so do we want to wait till they can come or just take a look at it? It's just a subdivision, I believe.
Is it DRC or is it?
No, just a subdivision.
Oh, so, I'm sorry, you said that.
I have the digital copy. Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
What do you think, Madam Chair?
Says they want to subdivide a lot into
I
two
don't understand
duplex
why I'm having
lots.
so much, it's just asking me all these things.
there's wetlands on both of those lots,
Yes.
but they both fall under, or appear to fall under the half-acre limit, so there's no buffer associated with them, and they've stayed out of
What
the
am I doing wrong?
wetland proper.
That it won't open anything. Conscom, and then I have to
Oh,
do all this
it's not
stuff.
happy.
Oh my God, I found one.
Yeah, just close it.
Yay.
If you think I need to see something, tell me. I'll look over your shoulder.
There, when you, after people are done with this map, that if you go to the last, the first detail page,
Mhm.
I think this is the plan where I noticed that,
This
the
one?
actual, the details at the end, not the, yeah, right, keep going, oh, wait a minute, yep. There's one of these, it was a copy and paste error, but it made me wonder how good the rest of this is.
Oh.
It refers to, try to go down further. There, I can't find it.
Still 3 more pages.
Should keep- No, that's not it. on the upper left. Oh, wait a minute, see. I should have written this down, I guess.
You don't remember what it involved at all?
Yeah, well, it was a reference to the half-acre lot. That was my first clue that there was something amiss, so probably something that hopefully the professional engineers will catch. But the one question I had about this is, there's a nice plan that says, a stormwater management plan that says they have to inspect the structures, they have to fill out a report, they have to file the report with the town and with DES. And I'm not sure that's even consistent with town regs, but I'm almost positive that DES isn't swamped by probably hundreds of thousands of drainage reports, or, drainage structure reports. That's I think on, is this the Android? No, you went back to the, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask them if where that came from. I mean, it was if we have no other objections, we could just as a comment say that the drainage structure inspections appear to require submission to DES. Could they double check that? And, the bigger picture here is, we got two little duplexes. They're supposed to be filing a report. Is somebody up at Public Works gonna be checking off, yep, they filed their report, There's how many, we probably have what, 8, 9, 10,000 structures in town? I don't know how the town manages that. Maybe this open gov thing is gonna help. But we should at least ask if, where this came from, the requirement to submit to DES. Because I think Public Works will get it and they're gonna say, what the heck do we do with this? And yet, we would like the owners to do that, to look at these structures and make sure that everything's okay.
And these are drainage structures?
Detention
Yes.
pond.
Detention pond.
De-
Is it?
Yeah, they're both detention ponds.
Detention ponds.
They each have one. You could go down farther to where the actual plan is, Mike, and it'll. There. That's one. So they have inverts and they have slope, sloped banks. Got to keep the wooded vegetation off them.
So it mentions that they require reporting to DES?
Yes. You have to go all the way down
And
to
it's
the
just
bottom, Mike, and there it is. I think that might be where that other funny thing is too. No, that's trench detail. That's not it. Go another one. There's a sample form and everything. It's,
Over here?
yeah. All right, so requirements, here's the actual report, here's the log that they write down every time they inspect it. I think it's after every storm. It's a large storm, go
Wow.
out there and check all your stuff.
And this is across the whole state too, don't forget those numbers.
The following forms shall be submitted to the Londonderry Department of Engineering and Environmental on an annual basis. That's not where, there's a reference to DES someplace. Maybe I'm mixing up my
Well,
plans.
go up to the second paragraph fourth line, I see DES.
Yeah, right. So this is right. Oh, yeah, maintenance activities, that's what these are, and transfer of ownership shall be documented to the Department of Wildlife Services and Londonderry. I mean, I know that if the ownership transfers, the state's gonna find out, but it doesn't go to DES, it goes to whoever those DRA, goes to DRA. Revenue Administration, not to DES.
So inspection reports,
We've never seen that before, have we?
There is a
No,
mention of it under sanitary sewer trench notes in very small writing.
There's a
And
lot
it
of
says, if I had a magnifying glass, New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services design standards require 10 feet of separation between water and sewer. However, should construction reveal or expose a water line, main, or service running approximately parallel and less than 10 feet horizontally from the proposed deviation may be granted, provided that the sewer is constructed in accordance with the forge main construction requirement specified below. Does that have anything to do with what you're, no? Sorry, I
that's
listed
more
it.
septic. So we just want them to
You can do control.
just suggest that they
Use your mouse and you can
see
do
if that's correct, they're reporting to
Get up here
DES.
to
Yeah.
Yeah,
view.
okay.
Did view and then magnified it too, but I just didn't do it on them.
For the max thing, because I heard him talking to Laura out in the hallway. I didn't recognize him.
All right, that was a quickie.
Okay.
Do we have anything else on that? Just,
Show me
we're good?
Good, good.
Sounds good.
Oh,
Okay.
gotcha. See, I knew that.
All right, there's no
That
one,
would be wonderful if every, homeowner did that. But I think I'd probably
Not
gotta be a
likely.
better way. Spot inspections or something
yeah,
by somebody more qualified than, Joe Sixpack to go out there and say, looks like that thing's slumping.
no public comments, so start with old business. I created some flyers for Musquash Field Day.
Linda Post.
Yeah, and I'll email you one so that you can put it on
Oh.
the Facebook page.
Yeah, that's.
Thank you.
Or you're gonna just scan
I'm
it?
just gonna scan it, but
Okay, that's fine. So where it's February 13th, 14th, I'm going with the Valentine's theme. And have an activity for kids, making, you take pine cones and cover them with peanut butter and roll them in bird seed and hang them on a tree. And they're
good.
Valentine's to Mother Nature. I've contacted some scout troops who are thinking about participating. I'm not sure if they're gonna make the things and then just bring them, or if they're gonna come and make them at the landing. I'm visualizing making them at the landings, because pine cones, peanut butter, and birdseed is all pretty readily available and reasonably priced, so I think we can handle that. But if you have pine cones, that's my thing I'm coming up short on. So, anybody has pine cones they wanna
Okay.
donate, I'd appreciate it. I've asked the mountain bikers if they'd like to participate. They're gonna get back to me. It could be just a drop-in like they did last time. A couple of guys on bikes, and they stay for a little while and talk about the bikes and then go on. Talk to the conservation / dog catcher. He is, we've got the ATV, and we had mentioned that Glenn borrowed a trailer. Well, he borrowed it from Dave.
Oh,
So we're one step closer to that trailer than we were before.
Good.
But and he did mention, and rightfully so, if we have this much snow, that ATV is not gonna make it into the
Right.
woods.
Neither are we.
Maybe. Yeah, I was just ordering a new pair of snowshoes today.
I went out with my snowshoes, and I unfortunately forgot to put the tails on them, because I forgot I had them. So I haven't had to use them for years.
Yeah,
And man, I only went about a mile, and it just kicked my butt, because I was sinking in, about 14 inches and lifting all that snow up with the snowshoes on.
ooh.
Yeah.
So, he said he doesn't have access to a snowmobile. That would be Plan B, but I don't have access to a snowmobile either, but we'll have to just monitor the weather until then.
Right now, it looks like it's not gonna get very warm. I don't think we're gonna have a melt. But it
Well, we
stops
have,
on-
we
it
have
stops
30
on
days
Thursday.
almost, at least 3 weeks,
Oh, it's 3 weeks. Okay,
3
I was-
weeks.
I was off a week.
but,
This is New England, things can
Single
change.
digits.
and rapidly. Oh, yeah, all it needs is one rainy day and we're
Summer
sunk.
by then, you never know.
Well, no, what typically happens is we get ice.
You're
Almost
right.
every year we have the
Yeah.
ice.
Right.
And that becomes treacherous and
I don't have them.
it's disappointing when that happens.
I'm not gonna get them.
So that's Musquash Field Day.
Good work.
And if you can think of anybody to share the flyer with, either by email or whatever, please do. Did you guys get your email set up?
No.
No? No? Did anybody send you the email on how to do it? Ooh, so I will have to resend that.
There was an email that said she was going to send us that information or get us set up, and then nothing ever happened.
Okay, we're gonna check on that. Okay, but yeah, if you want to post it on your Facebook page or email it to your friends, the more the merrier.
Would the town post something like this on the website?
They will, once I give it to them.
Okay.
Can we post it on the Londonderry Adams Facebook?
Yeah, on the moms, on the everyone that you're,
I'll take a picture and then they have to say yes to it after you post
yeah,
something.
they usually are pretty good about it.
Marge, do you have this as a PDF?
I do. I just send it to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why don't you do that?
Yeah,
That's
that,
fine.
like, makes life simpler.
Can you send it to, not to my town mail?
Yes, oh, yeah, I'll do it too, yeah.
Right now, we're not friends.
The other thing for old business is that we did the RFP for a forester. The applications are due by Monday. We've had one application, and it's somebody from Ohio. I'm not sure how that's gonna work. I don't know what to do.
He said in his work list that they had done something in New Hampshire. Well,
Yeah,
We could ask him, what did he do and who's a contact?
Yeah. and-
because right in his proposal, it says, they specialize in the Midwest, and I was like, this isn't the Midwest.
Yeah, it sounded like a company that was from Ohio that was gonna hire somebody out here.
Yeah,
And manage it that way, like a forest management
I
kind of
just,
company.
you
But
know,
I'm
I
disappointed
just
we
don't
didn't
like
get any.
that.
Same,
Did we
not a fan.
advertise in the wrong place?
I don't know, I gave it to planning, who put it on the town website, and the,
NHMA.
yeah, New Hampshire Municipal Association. I sent it to the state forester, who put it on the forester's website.
Okay.
Is there something from Rockingham County?
I didn't, like, UNH or something, well, that's,
Okay, that's,
I sent it to Greg Jordan, who's the UNH
Cooperative Extension.
board,
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
forester.
I lost track of those guys.
And Greg used to work for Charlie, so he knows all about us. But yeah, I don't know what else, you had that magazine that you thought I should maybe contact them,
I don't,
but if, we might have to extend the application deadline.
Facebook? Post it on our Facebook group?
yeah. Well, I don't know, I think I can do that.
I was
You
gonna
can
say,
do something.
Deb's the only one
I'm supposed to be doing
that's
that.
authorized to do Facebook.
Do we know, do any other towns with forests have forests? Does Litchfield do anything with their town forest?
I imagine. I can contact them, because I have remember the guy from Litchfield Conservation came to our
Right.
meeting? So I can connect with him.
That may be a dead end, but it's just,
But also Greg Jordan, the state forester, when I asked him about what should I do, he sent me different towns' RFPs to get an idea of what to write. So clearly, those towns have foresters.
okay.
So,
Some years back when they had that forestry convention up here, there was a busload of guys
I
wanting to.
know that we need one of those again. Yeah, it's like, where do these guys
Hang out.
get information?
I'm not finding the ads that I thought I was gonna find. This is an education, they're touting themselves as an educational.
Forest
organization.
Societies magazine has a list of foresters. that-
That's where I've seen it.
Yeah. I could just take a picture of that and send it to you.
Okay,
Is there a reason we can't go just to direct foresters? Can we do
I
that?
don't think there's a reason we can't.
Yeah.
But because Greg gave me the list of New Hampshire, there's a lot, and.
Yeah, right.
Do I have to email each one separately?
don't-
And I didn't know, I didn't want to be
You
emailing
didn't
one
wanna
in
prick it,
Berlin,
Right, right. The New Hampshire chapter of Society of American Foresters, I think, has a website, and maybe we could get it on there.
There's also a reference that I looked up here to the New Hampshire Timberland Owners Association.
Yeah.
Did we mention that? If I missed it, I'm sorry.
No, but are those foresters or people who would
Yeah.
use
Licensed.
foresters?
Licensed professionals, it says.
Yeah. Would-
Not sure what that means, but
Yeah.
licensed foresters provide services.
I can't help but thinking that the word somehow didn't get out, or not to the right
I know.
people.
Yeah.
How could only one respond?
Yeah,
From
so,
Pennsylvania or
Right.
Ohio.
And how did it get all the way to Pennsylvania or Ohio or wherever?
I think that they just asked ChatGPT for
Yeah.
information. I'd look
There's
at.
companies that will scan, in the state business that I'm in, there's companies that scan websites constantly.
Oh,
They harvest all the websites and RFP sites.
Huh.
And they look for it.
all right. Well, if you find something that looks like it has potential, can you email me? And
Yeah.
I will see if I can't post it out there and maybe extend the deadline.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
That's all I have for old businesses. Anybody have old business? New business, the mountain bikers have noticed a bridge on the Porcupine Loop that needs some repair, and they're estimating it's about $130 to do that. And I would like to see if we would come up with $130.
I would make
Is-
a motion.
Isn't that trail only like 4 years old or less? And didn't they build it?
I don't know.
We didn't build it.
Yeah, the Porcupine Loop.
Was it? That's not one of the new trails? Is that an old trail?
I don't know.
I think it's a newish.
Well, yeah,
this isn't the one that used to cut into the state, the Fish and Game land?
It's the one that, yeah, it's the one up on top of the hill that goes into the Mathis tract.
Yeah.
So that's not okay, that's
Different one.
not a new trail.
Yeah.
okay.
It's been there for a long time, so
Didn't have, I don't think it had a name for a while.
I agree. It was, I think it was an unofficial trail.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
could be.
And it went down,
I think the place you and I walked out to, we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked.
I don't remember.
And then we
Yeah.
ended up on the top of a hill and
Yeah.
checked it out and they said, yeah, they could do what they want.
it used to connect to the middle of the Mathis Trail before Fish and Game got all involved out there.
Oh, yeah,
And then it became a loop back.
And they
thing.
turned it into a loop. So, yeah, that's fine.
all right.
You need a
Make a
second.
motion that we approve up to $150 to reimburse the bike
Mountain bike.
guys, mountain
Yep.
bike guys
For materials.
for materials.
Okay,
Extras just in case something,
yeah, good plan.
from the line item budget.
Seconded.
Third. I mean, third, but.
Motion by Deb, second by Jean. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passed unanimous. He also gave me a heads up that there's a large bridge at the entrance to Sarah Beth that is going to need some repairs, but I didn't get out there before the snow, so I didn't really get a chance to check on it. So it's going to be, I imagine, a few weeks till I can actually get a good look at what's going on with it. But he just kind of gave me a heads up on that one.
My memory of it is it's not real long, it just goes over a little gully wash.
Yeah.
Um,
And it was bad 8 years ago.
Oh, yeah,
So that's another one if they're offering,
yeah, yeah, and I think these guys like to do this,
yeah.
so it's all.
And it's not too
all
far in, so
good.
unlike Porcupine, taking materials in, it's less than 100 yards,
Yeah. Yeah, if we can get materials into the landing, we can get it into.
yeah.
That's all I have for new business. Anybody have new business?
I didn't finish the financial.
Oh, that's okay.
And nothing has changed. We have spent the money for Lithia Springs, and nothing new has come in.
Okay.
I haven't gotten the updated grant agreement from DES yet for the
For the sign?
signs. Yeah.
Okay,
So I haven't even alerted the sign maker because I figured this was gonna happen. They have to get through executive and council
Mm.
and it's when they get on their schedule and I think they meet every 2 weeks maybe. So if you hit it at the wrong time in the cycle, it could take a while.
yeah, well, we're familiar with that. And then just a reminder, tomorrow night is the Watertown Hall at the high school, and was it 6:30, I believe it
I
starts?
think so.
So that's good information about the water supply situation for the town. If you want to be updated on that and give your opinion,
Yeah, 6:30 in the cafeteria.
okay, be sure to attend that. Other than minutes, that's all I have. Anything? Well, let's do minutes then.
If nobody has anything, I'd move to accept the minutes as presented for January 13th.
Second.
Motion by Bob, second by Dave. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Deb abstains. Motion pass. You're up.
It doesn't have to be me. I'll move we
You started
adjourn.
a tradition.
I'll move we adjourn.
Following in good footsteps. I'll second.
Motion by Jean, second by Deb.
Said it so
All in
well.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, our meeting adjourned.